Hello YouTube friends, welcome to the Red Parrot channel. I am your host Mary Ellen. Super happy to see you this morning. I'm very glad you're here. I am going to do a roundup of my experiments using this Easter egg die kit. I wanted to use the colors and then use them to dye paper to see kind of what we get. Some important things on the back. It says that you need vinegar, and vinegar is a bit of a dye fixative. It's a bit of an acid, a light acid that allows the adherence. So it's important to know that you need that. These come in little kind of tiny little cakes about that big. And when I was watching Louisa Heinzel do hers, in Europe, this kind of dye comes in a long, thin packet, and it's not compressed into a cake. It's already a powder. So I had to create powders with the little cakes, and just a note, they are fairly compact. It took a while to get them cracked, and once it starts to crack, you have basically a powder dye that is going to go everywhere. You can see lovely here. I've got dye here. I've got dye here, and that's only, you don't see the rest of the stuff that was on my hands because I scrubbed it within an inch of my life. So let's get into it, and we'll show you the papers. So page number 1 looks like this. And I have, what do I have? I'm going to just pat this paper a bit because I can feel a little bit of residue. The box says it's got, well, I don't know that those are the real colors because I have yellow, there was a red, there was a blue, there was a dark blue, like Prussian blue, and then there was a green. So I don't know that there was an orange, and I don't know that there was a purple or a pink, really. So that's also useful to keep in mind. So this is the first page, and what I'm doing here is kind of learning what I am doing. And so I took Cindy at Studio Lou recently took her spent alcohol markers, pulled out the center, stuffed it into a spray bottle, added some alcohol to sort of basically have the ink bleed out, and then she had a spray bottle. I sort of did the same kind of thing at first, where I just cut the recipe on the box in half and then filled a little spritz jar with it. And had I done that with all 5, I would have had ink forever. But I quickly got curious and aggressive. But anyway, so this is a nice kind of yellow page. And then essentially what I am doing is I am water, then the ink, and then as I got the powder, I'm sort of sprinkling the powder and then adding more, not alcohol, vinegar. Oh my goodness, have I been saying alcohol this whole time? I meant vinegar. Oh, heavens. Let's just carry on then. So that's another page. They're quite nice. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of pleased with that. And this one is about the same. You can see where this is an edge. So I'm doing this layering of water, the yellow vinegar spray, some of the inks, some of the powders, and then more water, and then more vinegar, and there quickly ceased to be any kind of math and logic involved. It just became a free-for-all, just a woo, let's throw everything all in. And then so that different from, say, a coffee bath, where you would have a bath of coffee, you put all the paper in, and then you pull it out. So there was very little additional water, so the drying time for this was fairly good. So this, you can sort of see this just being on top, and you can see the sprinkles and where there's deep dye, though you can sort of see that the purple does come out eventually. This is another one where there's a spot. They're quite deep, the colors. There's another one, and I'm getting into my blue phase and a little bit of red. It's another place where you can kind of see where there's the overlap. That's a nice red, I like that one. Another clearly layered piece. At one point I had too much water and I needed to, what did I need to do? I needed to soak up the water. The water becomes really, really dye intense. And so paper towels are useful to have. Or rubber gloves would be useful to have, but it's sort of an inert dye, so I didn't bother too much with that. I used, just as a fun experiment, I used the some of the coloring book pages to see what we got. That came out really kind of fun and psychedelic. I like that. The owl makes me laugh. The kind of freak out. This started off, I had a bit of a tip accident, and poor little buddy just disappeared in the blue. So this was a place where I had to do some mopping up, and this just turned out pretty. And this is when I think I opened the red. And then this one is also really quite psychedelic. I like how this turned out. So I opened the green for this one and then tried to do kind of red here and then yellow here. The placement of the ink or the dye is very approximate. Because of just so much of the bleeding and the absorbing and so on and so forth. So that's the verso. And then there's this one. You can see where places where there's like been a chunk that has been dropped. There's another one. This one you can see that there is a lot of very, very fine sprinkling happened, and probably not that much water or anything else. So there's that. You can see some of the purple come out there. And oh yeah, and so here's where, so the yellow eventually got used up, as did the red, and then what I had left was blue and green. This is interesting how that turned out. I have no idea how I got that effect. Possibly very dry and then just spraying almost pure vinegar to create that kind of a bloom. Then I did some small pages. So these are I think I showed you, I got a thrifted sketchbook, so this is me tearing that up. And you can see how I'm into the blues and the very dark colors. But it turns out fairly intense. Not opposed to that fold either. This is getting a bit muddy here, but clearly I rescued that And I realized that it's like, oh wait, I'm making brown, and then I dialed it back. So this has got some wrinklies in it, and this is very clearly I did use almost no water or additional water or vinegar. It's just me sort of soaking up whatever the inks are available. And the same with this one. And this probably was a top sheet at some point. This one turned out nice too. I like that one. Very nice blue. Another high top sheet. This, why did this happen? This probably happened because when I picked it out of the pan, it was pretty much all this. I wasn't separating them sheet by sheet, and I slowly was drying them in sort of batches of 3. And then as they dried, sort of pulled them apart further. I just let them air dry on newspaper, not in the oven. And so I think what might have happened here is I just picked up the edge and it ripped. I like this sort of white splotchy bit, though. That looks kind of funky. And then there's this one. Ooh, I like that back. So I guess it is kind of purpley. Maybe it's pinky. This is certainly a green one, and more of that kind of funky effect. And then last couple, this is another top sheet where I'm just mopping up the ink. And then the last one, another one of those kind of a browns. So that's the results. Now I've dusted all of this off onto my mat here, so I need to go clean that off. Would do again. Yielded a lot of paper. Was tremendously enjoyable to do. And I can use some of these pages right into journals. I might use them for the one that I'm working on now because I am just a bit of a mess. So anyways, just a quick roundup. Thanks so much for joining me. As always, please comment, like, and subscribe for more episodes. And we will see you really soon. Bye now.